Welcome back to the Purple Politics Podcast. I'm your host, Ben.
I'm Rick.
And it's that time of the week where we go through last week's headlines, see what they're feeding our headline heroes of the week, and what they got right, what they got wrong. We're not always right. Definitely not always wrong. So let's start. It's election season right now, so I thought we'd start with a little election coverage. We're from Central New York, but this one comes straight from Arizona's 4th Congressional District. David Brill, a Democrat, has a spot on television going against his Republican adversary, Paul Gosar. And it's titled, Paul Gosar is not working for you. And it has like testimonials slamming the guy running.
Yeah.
And it features...
Just wait for it.
It features remarks from Grace, Jennifer, Joan, Gaston, I don't know. And
who are these people?
well, they wholeheartedly, and that's a quote, endorse Brill, but they're Paul's siblings.
Yeah.
They're his direct family descendants.
You got to be the black sheep of the family to have that happen to you, apparently.
But how nice is that for it to just fall into Brill's lap? These people that just don't get along with their brother, and they're like, yeah, we'll run with you.
Yeah, well, apparently his own siblings don't agree with his policies. They like the Democrat better, apparently.
Yeah, well, we'll start with he does have issues with immigration that his siblings don't agree with, but that's a party thing. You know, who knows if... Hey,
am I goofy, or is it, okay to belong to a party, but to have your own line or limitation, to what you believe? I mean,
you're goofy because not anymore. You're not allowed to.
Yeah, but why is that? I mean, why can't you be a Republican and have a different view on immigration?
I completely agree. I don't understand where everybody... Because I don't honestly believe that all Republicans believe all Republicans are right and all Democrats believe all Democrats are right. But when you look at the news media, that's how it is.
Yeah.
You're Democrat or you're Republican.
Yeah.
But I will say that Gosar is not all... I'm not going to say he's not all there. He does have some kooky thoughts. So...
I think you're being polite.
Yeah. I'm trying to be polite today. It's a change for Ben.
Oh, scary.
So on top of his immigration issues, he believes that the Charlottesville incident, the white supremacist rally, that was a Democratic coup against the Republicans. They set it up.
Come on.
I mean, and I've heard other things like this, like a lot of school shootings are because the Democrats are giving kids guns to go in and shoot schools. There's lots of conspiracies that you can't bite into them.
Yeah, but, I mean, that's just, it's so ridiculous. What's scary is there's a person in power, and if he truly believes that, that's just, let's think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
That's just... does that qualify as unfit to serve? I mean,
it depends on if it's true, which we're going with conspiracy theory right now.
Yeah.
And that's a really tough one to pull off, but yeah, that's why his siblings are with Brill right now. I just think Brill is brilliant.
Hey, yeah,
like what
absolutely.
I did there?
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Hey, I know I'm running against your brother, but would the 6 of you like to be in my ad?
Yeah, we'll do it for free.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happened. But yeah, I thought we'd start off with so we've been calling them kooky and crazy right here in the article. It's from, there isn't a kooky, crazy, nutty thing that he isn't a part of. And that's coming from David Gosar, his brother.
Wow.
We were just using those words to be funny.
Yeah.
This is an actual quote in the article.
A quote adding to the Washington Post. So it's not like, it's something in an obscure article somewhere.
Every once in a while, it's nice to start off with a funny. I found that funny. I know it's probably sad, but I found it hilarious that they got 6 of his siblings to join their side.
I think it's crazy, and he's probably gonna say, "Oh, it's fake news." Yeah, that's
fake
really
news.
Not my brother. Who's that guy next? That's not my brother.
No, I've never met him before in my life.
Yeah, they look alike, but it's not him.
On a plus, I guess there are 4 other siblings, or no, 3 other siblings, because he's one of 10 that aren't on Brill's campaign.
Maybe they're the polite ones.
Yeah, they
just
couldn't.
want to stay neutral.
I was thinking they were shy in front of the camera.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking about shy in front of the camera, we talked about Larry Sharpe last week, the Libertarian candidate running for governor in the great state of New York. And am I correct in saying you have some good news for next week's podcast?
Yeah, we were contacted by the local, and we live in Central New York, so the CNY regional campaign director for Larry Sharpe, and he's agreed to be on the program next week. We're going to discuss policy issues, a couple questions. We're not going to steamroll him. I'm going to give him a list of everything we're going to ask.
Yeah.
We're not that type of show. So if you guys have any questions that you'd like us to ask, get them into me before, like, say, Wednesday, just so I can make sure he's prepared.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'd really love to see that, and we do, we get a lot of feedback, but it's always private. It's okay to, make some of this public where other people can see it as well.
Yeah. I'm excited. This will be our first interview since we started a few weeks ago. So it should be a good episode.
Yeah. Excellent.
So let's take it down a notch. I hate to do it, but a 14-year-old Utah boy was killed from a stray bullet from a nearby not a shooting range. Some people were shooting targets. Yeah,
originally I thought it was a shooting range. And then, of course, not being a headline hero, I actually read the article. And it was just some people, they had some targets set up.
They set up some targets.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't shot a gun since I was 13 years old. But when I did, it was my friend's father, and he taught me. So he could have been easygoing about it because I wasn't his kid and I was only going to do it maybe one time in his head. He gave me the gun. He showed me the gun. He taught me all the parts of the gun. He showed me how to take it apart, load the bullets, everything, clean it, everything. Then we went out and we set up the range, put down the weapons, all unloaded, and then we walked. And when I say we walked as far as it would take those bullets to slow down. I can't remember what it was, but it was far.
Yeah.
And then we walked back and shot, but we were walking so that we knew what was behind, because unless you're shooting against a metal barrier
or even a dirt pile.
Yeah, something that'll stop the bullet.
Yeah, if you have a backdrop.
You may miss the tree that you're shooting the target on. You may miss the bale of hay that you're shooting the target.
Yeah, it travels.
You need to know what's behind there.
Yeah.
So there was a trail directly behind this, and they were still shooting at it, and a family had just gone off-roading in one of their vehicles, and they heard a pop. Their 14-year-old boy slumped over in the back seat of the car, and he lost his life.
Yeah, it's definitely sad. It's tragic. This is really more about gun education. And I can hear people freaking out now. If we didn't have guns, this wouldn't have happened. Yup, and that one child that died eating soap. If we didn't have soap, that wouldn't have happened. Yep. I mean, you got to be realistic here. Education, when it comes to firearms, is extremely important. Yep. And it's got to be handled serious, and you have to pay attention to detail. You can't, you can't just grab a gun and start firing it.
Absolutely.
You got to realize, you have travel. You know what you're firing, how far the travel is. And like I said, a lot of people
know the weapons you can handle.
Yeah, and a lot of people that are into weapons, they know their firearms. They know what they're firing, and they're usually set up for it, not just a paper target. If especially in some rural areas where I've been, you'll see a couple mounds of dirt, and they're firing in, and the dirt is the backdrop, which will stop the bullet. So most people are aware of it. It sounds like.
Well, here's a quote for you, and this is what made me think about what I just said. So one of the people that was involved as a shooter, a potential, I don't know if he was actually the one that shot, but he was involved in the shooting, as well as other witnesses, stated that they didn't know that there was a road downrange and they couldn't see the vehicle because of the thick brush. But if you're shooting bullets, I'm going to assume if you're doing target practice, you're not just a target practice enthusiast. You're probably a hunter. So where do you hunt? In the woods. So you're shooting at the woods. You have to assume somebody's in there hunting. Oh, you may not think a car, but
yeah, 100%.
Still assume.
And even let's say you own 10 acres. Even if you're on your own property, firing your weapon, you have to be careful. Somebody could be lost on your property. You know, listen, there's no excuse for this.
Yeah.
All right. But I also believe in my heart of hearts, there was no intent.
Oh, 100. I absolutely agree. And
so I don't want to go down that road. I'm just saying, you know, this is gun education.
Yeah.
You know, it's straight gun education. And if these people were educated properly, the reality is this doesn't happen.
Right. And I will say another reason that this story stuck out to me and that I wanted to talk about is, one, I felt bad for the child.
It's horrible.
I mean, that's a fluke accident, 1 in a million chance. You know, I mean, the guy shot at the exact same time that the boy's head was going to be near the window, that the bullet, I mean, lots of things had to come into play. They didn't look, but I already know that the people are going to look at this and be like, that's why we need gun control.
Yeah.
But
it's not about gun control. It's about education.
Even his own uncle, who was in the car at the time, I believe, if I read the article right, he says the message we want to get out is gun safety. We don't want this to turn into a gun right issue.
Yeah, and that's what they're afraid of.
Right. Even the family understands that it was a learning thing. It wasn't
an accident.
Yeah, it was an accident.
Bottom
education.
line, it's an accident. And even if somebody is very educated, it could happen to them as well. It just sounds, really sounds just like a fluke thing.
Yep.
My opinion based on the article is, nobody was out there looking to harm anybody. They were out there, setting up targets and unfortunately this young man lost his life. And he's not coming back. And that is a true tragedy.
Well, let's look at another topic that could come from this. So we both agree that it's not a get rid of guns issue.
Yeah.
But should the person who shot the bullet, because they didn't look, be penalized? I mean, obviously he's probably going to be facing some sort of civil charges, but should there be something that says that's 5 years you're not allowed to shoot a gun?
Well, actually, he should probably face criminal charges.
I would agree. I wouldn't say murder or anything like that.
I'm not seeking the death penalty here or anything like that. I'm just saying, if they can identify, if there's 3 or 4 of them shooting and they're not sure which one actually fired the fatal shot, but if they know who it is, that individual very well could face, I would believe it would be a manslaughter charge.
Yep.
And it is what it is. It's unfortunate he lost his life, and it would be unfortunate that this person, would be charged. But at the end of the day, you're responsible for your firearm.
Yep.
And you're responsible for that bullet when it leaves that gun. You are 100% responsible.
Yep, I completely agree with you. Agree.
Do I want to see somebody go to jail? No, and I certainly didn't want to see a 14-year-old child lose their life.
Absolutely.
So there is no winner here. There is no winner here. But, without a doubt, I believe, and I would not be shocked if I saw, criminal charges, but like I said, we don't know if there's 3, 4 all firing at the same time.
Right.
Whose bullet, or, is it one gun and 2 people took a shot and they're not sure which, one.
Yep. And that's for his local county to figure out, I think.
Yeah.
I was just wondering about your opinion.
Yeah, I don't think it ends here.
No.
I really don't. And unfortunately, and I read what the uncle says, this could really go sideways. This could really, all it takes is for somebody to really blow this up and blow it out of proportion.
Yeah.
This will be this could be a gun control issue. And like I've said, and I'll say it again, this is about, when people say gun safety, I say gun education.
Right.
Being educated about guns is also learning gun safety. So education.
Yep.
You get educated to drive a car, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, you can kill somebody with a car. That's why you're taught how to drive and you get a license.
And if you do kill somebody, there's a charge.
There's a charge. And it's the same thing here. A responsible person educates somebody that they're teaching. And I have no problem. There should be an available class. Here in New York, we have gun safety courses that you must take for a handgun.
Yep.
Okay. But if you're buying a long rifle, there's nothing required.
I think that's in most places too. You can
But,
walk right into Walmart.
when you think about it, with the amount of firearms that are out in the public, maybe there really should be, some kind of education or class that, you take. What could it hurt?
For all, I believe, not I believe you. I agree with you. I think all guns, you should show up and be like, I took my class. I have to take a 5-hour.
Yeah.
The kids have to take a 5-hour now. I took my class. Can I please have my 22?
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Why is it you have to take a test to drive a car, but you don't have to take a test to fire a gun?
Because there's not an amendment for a car.
Yeah. Well, I think
I absolutely agree with you. I know what
education
you're
is
saying.
everything. And anybody that knows me, and Ben, you know this, okay? I am a strong believer in the Second Amendment. I believe in the right to bear arms, but I also believe in responsible gun ownership, and I also believe that you need to be educated before firing a firearm. And especially in this area, it's something it's taught from generation to generation. Grandpa teaches dad.
Yep.
Dad and grandpa teach grandson's son, and it's passed down. But this is a more rural type area, so I guess what I'm getting at, there's a lot of people that are not trained how to handle their firearm.
I'll be honest with you. If it wasn't for Jeremiah's father, Floyd, love that man, I wouldn't know a thing about weapons. And if somebody put one in my hand, I'd probably shoot myself.
Yeah.
And that's not a suicidal thing. I would accidentally set the gun off and shoot my leg or something.
It happens.
Absolutely. But because he took the time, he's like, if you're going to be on my property, there's guns here. You have to learn about the gun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he even called my mom. He's like, I have to teach him because we have guns here.
Yeah, absolutely. And a reasonable individual does not have a problem with that.
Right. So speaking of teaching, I love these segues.
Yeah.
Diane Tirado, I hope I got her name right, an 8th grade teacher in Port St. Lucie, Florida.
Yeah.
She was fired, according to her in reports, she was fired from her position because she refused to give kids a grade on homework that they did not turn in.
So if they didn't turn homework in, she had to give them a 50% grade.
According to her. Now, most schools, they have
should be a 0.
Well, a lot of the schools have a 0 policy. You're allowed to give them a 0 for not turning in the paper, but if they turn in the paper, you have to at least give them a 1. I completely agree with that. You put your name on the paper, you've actually turned it in, I'll give you a 1. But to say that a kid gets 50% grade because they didn't turn in their paperwork, what does that teach?
It teaches that you can do nothing and be rewarded. I so disagree with this. I think you let the teacher teach, let the teacher do their job. I think government should get their face out of the school systems, mind their own business. They have a hard enough time taking care of their own business on the Hill. Last thing we need is, more them having more control in the school systems. Let your teachers teach. They're the ones that have direct contact with your students. They know how to teach, not some senator or some congressperson, sitting in D.C. They're not teachers.
Right.
Leave teaching to the teachers. If the teacher feels that, hey, you didn't turn your homework in, guess what? When I didn't turn my homework in, guess what I got? Goose egg, donut, a 0.
Well, I don't know if you caught this in the article, but 100%, she hadn't even given any child a 0 yet.
Oh, yeah, she just refused to do it. So
No. Oh, yeah, well,
yeah.
She refused to change, because what she does is, if somebody doesn't turn in their homework, and the issue was a packet that she sent home right now, a couple kids didn't turn in that homework. She took a star, those little stickers, and she stuck it in the grade book. Now the kids that she reminds every week have until the end of semester or marking period or whatever they use in that school to bring that homework in. If they bring that homework in, that star comes out, they get their full grade minus 10%. So they get a deduction.
So if they got a 90, it would really be an 81.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
and that's more than fair. That's more than my teacher would have done.
That's absolutely fair. That's what she was doing. But the school said, Well, those stars, you got to just give them incomplete, and you got to have them in the book right now as 50%. She's like, I'm not giving them 50%. They haven't turned it in, but they have the rest of the market period, and they could still get a 90. If they get 100, they get a 90.
Right.
The school's like, no, take those stars out, put a 50% in the book, and then change their grade later. She's like, I'm not giving them 50% for doing nothing.
Let the teachers teach. Would you
Exactly.
please let them do their job? Don't micromanage them. Nobody wins when somebody's being constantly micromanaged.
Yeah, I agree that as long as they turn it in, give them something. I don't think 50% should be the 0 point grade. I think if they put their name on it, give them a point. If they put their name on it and answer one question, give them 10 points.
Yeah.
Give them what they deserve. But like she says, she goes, if we are creating people of entitlement to the point where they're expecting something for nothing, what kind of world do we have? So you go to your employer and you don't even show up today. Does he have to pay you?
For half a day?
Exactly.
Yeah. No.
But that's what they're going to expect. They're going to be like, well, my teacher used to give me 50% for not being here.
Yeah.
And then they come in. I got people right now, and it's not even right now. This has been going on for over a decade, where I'll be walking by like HR, and there'll be a mother and a child in there. And by child, you have to be over 18 to work for my company.
Yeah.
The child is over 18. The parents have to sit in on the interview.
Why?
I don't know.
They're adults.
But they have to let the parents in.
That's the problem.
And as far as I'm concerned,
a problem.
as far as I'm concerned, if your parent has to show up to your interview, you don't get the job.
Right.
So if I ever start a company and you see Ben Frankie as your boss or as your HR person,
Don't
and
bring
you
your
guys
mom.
can sue me because it's on air right now.
Yeah.
I will not hire you if you need mom or dad to sit through an interview. I will hire the guy that tells me to fuck off in the interview before I hire you.
Yeah.
Because you have your parents go with you.
We're setting our kids up for failure.
Absolutely.
You want to give them a chance. They got to understand how the real world works. And as they progress through school, they should be learning these things. We got to prepare them. The other thing we need to do, and schools don't, is we need to teach them how to handle finances.
Yep.
That's so critical.
Yeah, finance is great. And most parents don't understand how to do it right now, so they're not teaching their children.
Right. Even if it's just the basics.
Yeah.
Don't spend over, X amount of your income.
Try to take 5% every week instead of aside, even something that little.
Educate them. Set our children up to succeed. Do not set them up for failure. Giving somebody a 50% for not turning in homework is setting that child up for failure. It's a disservice to the student, and it's a disservice to the teacher teaching the class.
It's a disservice to our future too.
Yeah. You know what? That's so
That's
scary.
the scariest part.
That's the scariest part.
Because every time I bring up like these type of topics, I don't know if you've read The Time Machine or seen the movies.
Yes.
They're pretty similar.
Yes.
But those people that are living above ground, just eating the food, that's what the kids want. But they don't realize that the Morlocks are under the ground going to eat them. I know I'm dorking on you guys right now.
Yeah.
But that's the truth. They will be it's a metaphor.
Right.
These utopian societies, there is a cost.
Yeah.
And the cost is death.
Yeah.
If you're not working, it just boggles my mind.
Yeah.
But I feel bad for this teacher if this story is absolutely true, which from what I've seen, it seems like it is. Because that's part of their handbook. Like, the one thing I did have an issue with was she said that she was never specifically pointed out that was the rule. Well, one, it's in the handbook, and two, it was brought to your attention that that's how they felt. But she stood her ground, and I think that
well,
you know what? Look at the rule.
Well, you know what? She has an avenue, because in most business, if there's a rule change or something in a handbook that's changed, it's actually provided. You need to sign it and turn it back in.
And here's how she got fired so easily. She had just started in August, so it was in the original handbook she was given. Oh. So she just started. I think it said that she hadn't even finished the first semester of working there.
You know what? Shame on them. Shame on them for having a rule like that.
Absolutely.
You do not reward somebody for doing nothing.
No, and we're hurting our kids. Now we have to, like, and I get that I'd like to insure my son until he's 26, but telling me I have to.
Yeah. Yeah. Why is the government telling you have to?
Why are we expected to let our children live in the house until they're 30 or 40? Right. I mean, we know people that have 40-year-olds in their house.
Careful, man. Freedom's slipping away.
It's just, but why? Why would you let your kid live in your house? I don't understand. We're hurting our kids. We're killing our kids. That's what we're doing. We're making it so they can't fit into society, function.
We're not setting them up for success. That's for sure.
All right, let's go to dumbasses.
Yeah, because this guy is just incredibly ignorant.
So we all know.
You know what? This is a product of giving. This is a product when you give people 50% for doing nothing, and these are the things. This right here sounds insane. When you go over this, this is gonna be like people are just gonna sit back and go, I can't even believe somebody would do something that.
See, I don't think so, because I'm on the other end. I think it's our fault. It's our fault this guy did this.
Well, it is because tie it back into the. Well, you know what? Everybody gets a trophy. You don't participate. We give you 50. All these little rules. This is a product of that right here.
I'll let you go with it. You're taking it away.
Man, this guy. Oh, my God. This guy, where's he from? Where's he from? I don't even think it says. I know it's the Norwich Police Department, but I do not know where that is. On an 89-degree day, as part of an experiment, this father put his 3-year-old in the trunk.
And then drove away.
Yeah. Let me repeat myself. This father put his 3-year-old in the trunk of his car on an 89-degree day. Okay? Now, we all know if you leave your child in the car and something bad happens to them, like they get overheated and die, you go to prison.
Yep.
But this guy took it upon himself to do an experiment on his 3-year-old son by putting him in a trunk on an 89-degree day.
Yeah, he wanted to do a social experiment, but this is where I think it's a lot of society's fault, because he wanted to do it so he could become an internet sensation. So we know all the people that get real popular. It was like the guy that put his kid up in the weather balloon, but the kid was up in the roof. They were just trying to get likes on the internet, because then they can get funded and then people pay for them and then they become rich. We got 8-year-olds out there doing stupid shit all the time. They got millions of followers. They can make millions of dollars.
Right.
So even if what his wife claims happened is true, I still got a problem with it, because she claims that he would open up the trunk. They were doing it in front of like a cafe or something so that people could see. They'd make sure people were around. He'd open the trunk. He'd be like, "You've been such a bad boy. I'm putting you in the trunk." He'd open the trunk. He'd put the kid. I don't want to say throwed, because I'm assuming, if all is true, he gently placed the kid in the trunk, shut the trunk, and while he was making his ranting and raving, the wife was in hunkered down with the half the seat down. You know how both sides fold down, which it looked like a car. Cars, the whole seat goes down, but we'll just assume it's like my SUV where half goes down. Yeah. So she had half the seat down, and as he put his child into the trunk, she would take the child and put him into the car seat, and then they drive away. My problem with this is, even if you have like Supreme tinted windows and all that, now everything she said is true, and they drove away and everything was fine, just the act of putting your child into the trunk at 3, he's not going to understand what's going on. No. You're still scaring the shit out of him.
This guy's an idiot.
Exactly.
You know what? And his wife went along. She's an idiot too. They're both a couple of idiots. It's the sad part here is they actually had a child to do this too. It's just, it boggles my mind.
It's becoming more and more of a fad of people just doing. The one girl killed her boyfriend because he wanted to do a YouTube stunt where he held a book in front of him and she shot him. And they had tried shooting the book a bunch of times, the same thickness, and it worked. The book stopped the bullet every time. So then they pull the video camera out and they do it on video, but they actually put the book in front of him. This time it didn't work. It killed him. Her fiance or boyfriend died because of YouTube. We're doing all this stupid shit on YouTube. I think there should be like a system out there that if it's this stupid, they don't get funded. If it's this stupid, it just gets pulled off. Like,
yeah, and that's why.
But then that becomes the censorship issue, which I don't agree
right.
with.
But that's why shows like ridiculousness and show and prank shows.
This goes back to Jackass.
That's why they say do not send videos in. They won't be open. They'll be destroyed because they don't want the responsibility of someone getting killed trying to do something funny. And in the meantime, on YouTube, nobody's managing this.
That was going to be my question. Should YouTube have a responsibility for the way things get funded? Because you are creating a reason for people to do it.
Yeah, but then,
it's like,
and then somebody's going to say they're discriminated against because they only have this talent and not this talent, and this person's being rewarded and they're not. It just opens up such a can of worms. But, you got to remember too, you have to have common sense.
Yep.
Okay. Now, things like shooting a book that the bullet can't travel and then it happens to make it through and it kills you. Professional stunt people do things like this, not amateurs.
And they have more than just a book. There's like bulletproof vest type stuff inside the book. And
but
here's what I'm saying. So maybe not YouTube, but I think the local government should be allowed to charge all these people and send them to jail for stuff. So like, obviously this guy's getting charged and I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
But like, and the lady was getting charged, but like the people where things don't happen, still, it's like charge them with assault, or there should be like some sort of charge.
I'm sure if they look hard enough, they can find something to charge him with. The thing
I almost say create a police department thing. I'll head it. I'll sit there and watch YouTube. No, because there's some things I can't handle watching. I don't want to see.
Yeah, no, but you know what? The same thing. I think it goes back to education. If you're educated well enough, things you should and shouldn't do. Don't get me wrong. Everybody does something foolish. All right?
Oh, I have. You have.
I have. Everybody I know has. I will again. But there's a few things I guarantee I won't be doing. I won't be sticking my child in the trunk no matter what the temperature is.
I won't say no matter, but.
And I will never be holding a book up to my chest no matter how thick it is and having anybody, professional or not, fire a gun at me while I hold on.
Yeah, because what if she had missed? I mean, not just the book. Like, I mean, yeah, you got the book in front of you, but there's always the chance that like she hiccups and she shoots you in the face.
Yeah, anything can happen.
Just these people.
It's not responsible.
Fame is not that important.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Maybe if they had gone to a trade school or had a trade,
I think it's also a laziness issue.
Oh,
because you make money doing like the YouTube thing.
It's a sense of entitlement,
Well, it's not just a sense of entitlement. It's a sense. To me, it's 100% laziness. I don't need to go get a job because if I just make 2 videos a week, I'll become famous.
Yeah, it's just like dealing drugs. Well, I can make a lot of money dealing drugs.
Let me tell you guys, I run 2 podcasts a week, and I work a full-time job.
Yeah,
I am not famous or rich.
Yeah, and I'm a slacker, and I'm neither. But I don't nearly do as much stuff as Ben does.
So let's go on. Our listeners are. In luck this week because there are 2 dumbasses of the week. I don't know how we can have 2 dumbasses of the week, but we managed to.
This is at the bare minimum. This is an honorable mention for.
Yeah, at least an honor because I don't understand. Like there's so many ways he could have done this differently. So, a man named Robert Fusco escaped jail. Let me repeat that. I'm going to do a little Rick here.
Yeah.
I'm going to repeat that. This man escaped jail.
You heard it correct. He escaped jail.
Well, they're going to hear this even.
Only 2. What did he do, Ben?
2 days later, tried to sneak back into jail with contraband.
Dumb.
You're out. Why not just go?
That's a fine right there.
If
copyright infringement, I'm sure.
I didn't hear nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. But if you just want the contraband, why not just figure out a way to get it in without you leaving? Because somebody's going to notice you're gone.
And you can, it's not like prisons or jails. It's not like nothing's being smuggled in.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe he just didn't have the hookup. You know what I'm saying? But I mean,
this guy had the hookup. He had 3 other inmates helping him, 2 former correction officers helping him,
oh my God,
and a former contractor. So I'm assuming the contractor was the one getting him in and out of jail. The former correctional officers were the one getting him the contraband and getting him around town for the 2 days, and the other inmates were concealing his whereabouts or whatever. But still, that's a lot to get. You don't.
It's a
do
lot
that.
of moving parts.
I know. I mean, you're gonna get caught when you do that.
I mean, if you're the corrections officer, why don't you just buy the drugs for them instead of smuggling out a prisoner? I mean, is the charge that much different?
One of the former correctional officers, Megan Cheryl Jones, she's 29. She was charged with smuggling cell phones, tampering with evidence, and she's also accused of having sexual contact with Fusco while she was a correctional officer. What is in people's minds? Like these teachers that have sex with kids and the correctional officers that have sex with inmates. One, and we're relationship guys. We're both married. We're both committed. So I think that might be where my mindset's coming from. But where do you think this relationship is going to go with an inmate or a child? Like, what makes you do this? It's not going to go anywhere. So what's even the point a quick fix?
It's ridiculous.
Oh, I just thought it was, those are my dumbasses of the week. I thought it was, the prison one's hilarious. Why would you go back? I can't get past that. Why would you go back?
Listen,
you are out.
If I'm breaking out of prison and I've already escaped, I'm not going to come back with anything. No. I'm not coming back.
Yeah. If you're out for 2 days or you're out for 2 years, you're getting the same escaping prison charge.
Yeah. And this guy, I don't know what his sentence is, but who knows? He could have 6 months, 9 months left on his sentence. Now tack this charge on, and I'm sure there's other charges, not just the escape charge. I mean, you could really start racking up some time. Yeah. Is it really worth it for what?
No, it's not. So let's keep beating up the prison system because we hate the prison system.
This is ridiculous.
Before we get into it,
this just pisses me off.
There does need to be prison reform. Things need to be done differently. But
listen, you have good guards, bad guards. You have good wardens, bad wardens. There's good people and bad people. Good
sentences, bad sentences.
Yeah, and there's good and bad people in every profession.
Yeah,
So I don't want to.
I actually don't know what side of the fence you're going to be on this one. So
is this the guy where the guy with no teeth?
This is the guy with no teeth.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're going to say, but inmates without teeth in Texas are routinely denied dentures because state prison policy says chewing isn't a medical necessity because they can eat blended food. That quote alone, and I don't know what you think about it, I agree. I am fine with it. I don't need to pay for their dentures. It's not my fault they didn't take care of their teeth. They're given toothpaste and toothbrushes. I didn't tell them not to brush their teeth before they went to prison.
But if you get a cavity and you're in prison, you go see the dentist. So
that's fine. They don't have any. Their teeth are fine. They're gone.
But what I'm saying is,
they're not in any pain.
You have one with no teeth.
Yep.
Okay. He can't go to the dentist. He does not have teeth.
Yep.
But his cellie has a toothache, needs a filling. He goes to the dentist and he gets his filling. So you're doing for one and not the other. Are you following me?
I follow you.
Now, granted, the other one's getting a whole set of teeth. This one's only getting one tooth worked on. But I mean, can we negotiate? Can we get like a few chewing teeth on the side?
Not a fucking thing. Don't give him a fucking thing. That's how I am. Like I said, the cavity. You've mentioned before that we have to like take care of their health and stuff.
Absolutely. It's part of
the cavity's causing pain.
Yeah.
The no teeth isn't causing pain. It's just forcing them to eat what they don't want to eat. Yeah. And I don't care what they eat.
A lot of soft food and soup.
Yeah, drink it up, buddy. I do not care what they eat.
But the question is, does that diet cost extra? And what I mean by that is,
I will say
they have a price per meal. So now, does the price per meal go up because it's a special meal, like maybe somebody who has a religious belief and gets a special meal? I know those meals cost more. So is it more of a cost to the taxpayer versus time to be served?
I've been at Walmart in the last couple of weeks.
Well, there's plenty of people without
blender
teeth
only costs $40.
Yeah, and you know what? Toilet seats don't cost $10,000, but our government will spend $10,000.
Not for jail, for government, for like military toilets. I'm fine with paying for military
toilets. But what
toilets.
I'm saying is, it's $40 at Walmart, but the prison system's not going shopping at Walmart. They're getting it through the government somehow.
Yeah. I don't care if he has teeth.
So no, I get that you don't. But my question is, does it cost more money to house this inmate because of any special diet that he needs because he has no teeth?
We'd have to look it up, but I'm willing to put money that it doesn't cost any extra because I have a feeling that they're just giving him milk, water,
overcooked noodles.
Yeah, I have a feeling like this is Texas. They're putting the shit in a blender and saying, drink it down, stupid. You should have brushed your teeth.
Yeah.
And I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Drink it down. Now, let's go into this. One of the main complaints.
Maybe you could share us out with Bill Cosby. They could share their pudding.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's in the pudding.
It's in the pudding.
But the main name in this article is a man named Paul DeVoe. And he's whining because the death row inmate, Paul DeVoe, and this is a quote, soaks crackers in coffee to eat them. Now, and let me go back for a second, all right? My father-in-law doesn't have teeth. He has a medical condition, something with calcium. He's lost all of his teeth. He can't chew. He functions perfectly fine. So I'm just going to get that out there. There's tons of food you can eat. My grandma, Phyllis, she didn't have any teeth. There's tons of things that she could eat. These people are just not eating all the foods that the other prisoners are eating.
Right.
So it's not literally they're drinking all the drinks. Like right here, he's whining because he soaks crackers and coffees to eat them. And he has 3 remaining teeth, so he could gnaw on stuff if he wants to. DeVoe and other inmates have complained about bleeding gums, sore mouths, choking, and being unable to eat. Well, if your fucking teeth can't chew through the fucking food, they'll put it in your fucking mouth.
Yeah. I think the bleeding gums and any sores should be addressed.
I'll give you that.
You know what I'm saying?
But you know what?
Beyond that,
don't give him fucking crackers if he doesn't know how to soak them right.
Yeah. All I'm saying.
But wait, let me just get to one more part.
If no teeth cost more
before
than
people
having teeth, give them the teeth.
Fuck their teeth. Because here's the thing. So I'm going to go back just in case people forget that I mentioned this. Paul DeVoe soaks crackers in coffee to eat them, and he's whining about it. He's complaining about it. Now, this isn't in the article. I had to go into the Texas Department of Criminal Justice website to get this information. So this poor man with only 3 teeth, who I'm sure brushed his teeth every day and took care of them until he went to fucking jail.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see the veins sticking out of my head.
Ben, what did he do to get in jail?
The subject on August 24th, 2007, this is right from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice website, during the daytime in Jonestown, Texas, entered a residence and using a .38 pistol, shot a 15-year-old white female in the forehead, a 48-year-old white male in the upper right shoulder, a 46-year-old white female in the head, and a 17-year-old white female in the right cheek. Left chin and inside of her head, I don't know how that works. Somebody didn't edit their writing.
Yeah.
Shot her inside of her head, causing the deaths of all 4 victims.
Wow.
So to go back, fuck
No
him.
teeth.
I don't care about his fucking teeth. Fred Cohen, a retired law professor who authored a book on correctional management, managed healthcare, and the law, said a class action suit is the only way inmates will see reform. The only reform they need to see is the reform of their body as it decays in the ground, because he shot a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old, and I'm assuming both their parents.
Yeah.
And I didn't go into too far to see what they did, but you're shooting a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old, you're a piece of shit. You want to save money? Stop with the appeals and shoot them in their fucking head.
Yeah.
There's gun control for you.
Hey, listen,
I'm not even that mad.
Yeah, listen, I don't want you to hold back. I really want you, let me know how you feel about this.
I wasn't even that mad, but it worked good.
Yeah.
And then for our final 2 stories of the day, this is a podcast where we talk about headlines, and we focused a lot on headline heroes. And these 2 headlines kind of were case in the point for me. So, headline number 1, Florence Good Samaritan arrested after helping pets during a storm. So now people are lazy and they don't read the rest of the article.
Yeah, so you're appalled just based on the headline. You're like, come on, this lady's
That's
helping
the exact
animals.
word I was going to use.
And you're going to arrest her? Are you kidding me? But now tell us about the article.
So, and
it gets crazy when you actually read the article past the headline, right?
But even the beginning, I'm still fine with it. She was in the flooding, and She noticed that pets weren't being saved, and she was already in the process of starting up a animal shelter
Right.
on her own.
Right.
This one lady dropped off like 18 pets, so she took them in. Another person dropped off some pets, and in the end of the article, you realize that the local government came in and was like, you need to give us those pets. This place hasn't been cleared as an animal shelter. It's either that or you go to jail. So she gave them the pets. I totally understand that. The local government has to do their job to protect the animals.
Right.
Local government comes back and arrests her. And now everybody's... it hasn't come out that everybody's upset, but it was blasted on news and stuff. And
somebody's upset.
And it ends up that the charges got dismissed because of public outcry. So obviously people are pissed off. But she was arrested because she... on charges of... what was it? Oh, practicing medicine without a veterinary license. And her quote is, it was all over-the-counter stuff you could literally find at Dollar Tree. Now, when was the last time you went to Dollar Tree and bought amoxicillin?
I don't know, but right after the podcast, I'm going to run down to Dollar Tree and see if they have it.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to stock up on amoxicillin. That is a prescription drug, but if Dollar Tree has that, and they have...
is it Tramadol?
Tramadol. You go get all the amoxicillin you want. I'm gonna go get my Tramadol.
Oh, because it's a lot like morphine.
It's an opiate.
Yeah.
So these animals, they found out that she had given them amoxicillin and Tramadol, an opiate.
Where'd she get that stuff? Because I know it wasn't a Dollar Tree.
She, according to the article, she had asked people for it. So what I could get out of it was,
you can't see the look on my face.
Yeah.
But I'm like, she asked people, like, hey, man.
Yeah, like people had given it to her.
You got any amoxicillin? Gimme.
So people had given it to her. Maybe she had some at home. But even if she's using her own, you can't use your own prescription drug on anybody or anything else. The only thing, so what I did is she was charged with 12 counts of practicing medicine without a veterinary license. I figured, according to the article, there were 9 counts that are absolutely illegal. She had 1 count of amoxicillin on an animal Big Mama, 1 count of Tramadol on Big Mama, 3 counts of amoxicillin on a white Siamese cat, 3 counts of amoxicillin on another cat known as Sweet Pea, and another amoxicillin count on an unnamed black cat.
So there's 9 counts. So they're absolutely illegal.
Right. The only one, there's 3 counts in here for using triple antibiotic at Dollar Tree. Now I'm taking her side.
Yeah.
Because if I see somebody get a cut and I just want to help them out and give them like my triple antibiotic out of my emergency kit out of my car, I shouldn't be charged by that.
No.
It's just triple antibiotic. You could squirt that stuff in your eye and probably not get blinded.
I'm going to try it.
Don't do it.
I'm going to try it now.
Rick, you try it.
I'll try it now. I'll report
Nobody
back
else listening
next week.
to this try that.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
But that's my problem with this article is that they use the headline to strike rage in the people, and then the people rage about it without reading the headline or reading the actual article, and then like the charges got dropped. So, but the quote from the county: the removal of animals from the building that failed to meet suitable standards for license as an animal shelter and away from the control of this defendant, who has previously been censored for unauthorized practice of veterinary medicine. So it's happened
she's
before.
A repeat offender. So it's not. So this is not basically the hurricane came. She ended up taking in some strays. A few of them were hurt, so she had some stuff at her house, and she administered to save their life. It's not. She's acting as a veterinarian,
right? And
then pretending she's a shelter, taking in animals.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they. But
amoxicillin, isn't that a like a penicillin type thing?
Yeah.
So that's for viruses.
Yeah.
You don't know. You're not a vet. You don't know that they need that.
Right. You know.
Tramadol is an opiate.
Yeah. I don't know.
You don't know the animal needs that. I get that they may be in pain.
Yeah.
But there's a point where you're just like, I don't know but it sounds to me like she's been in trouble for this before.
Yeah, and that's the way it looks to me. This isn't the first time around the block. So, I got to say, you know what? As much as I appreciate you taking the effort to help strays during a natural disaster, if you really want to do it, at least do it right.
So this quote right here kind of makes me remember like why I remember her getting things from other people. This is still a quote from the district attorney. This was especially true in light of her taking advantage of a dire situation to, one, solicit money and opiate narcotics from our generous and well-intentioned citizens. So now so that's where I got that she was getting the opiates from the citizens.
Right.
So what she's done here is she's possibly gotten these people in trouble too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I don't have opiates, but if I had opiates, I could not give them to you, even if I knew that you absolutely need.
Right.
I just watched you get slammed in the head by a 60 mile an hour vehicle.
Yeah, you don't run over and give me opioids.
I can't.
Call 911.
Yeah, no matter how bad I want to.
Let a medical expert, paramedic, show up and get you to the hospital.
And our last headline for our headline heroes this week is 20-year sentence for Florida man who stole 10 cartons of cigarettes. Now, come on.
It's 2 years per carton?
2 years per carton? Are you freaking serious?
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah. Well,
wait, no.
Yeah.
No. 10 years or 20 years
for 10
cartons. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's nothing you could say, Rick. Try to say something.
Yeah. Well, we got
nothing you could say.
Read the article because this isn't his first offense.
Well, this is as far as headline heroes got.
Yeah. Well, this guy's got 14 previous felonies and 31 misdemeanor convictions prior to the cigarette theft. So, I mean, he is a career criminal, so you got to take that into account. So it's not like some happy-go-lucky person was just hopscotching it down the sidewalk and said, 20 cartons of cigarettes, I think I'll steal these, and got, or 10 cartons, and got 20 years. Yeah, that's not the case. No, you got to read the article. People.
Absolutely, and like I said at the beginning of this whole segment, that's one of the reasons we started this podcast is because you read the news.
Yeah,
you watch the news and you read the papers and the magazines.
Yeah. People headline scan. That's what they do,
and it's just such false things. But that's people don't have the attention span that they used to, so they only read the headline and maybe the first two paragraphs.
Right.
And in the first two paragraphs of both these stories was just general, you should feel bad for these people.
Clickbait.
Yeah, it's clickbait.
Clickbait.
But that's why we started this, to call out this bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is bullshit.
Yeah, it's just clickbait. It's so they can charge more for their advertising or get advertising. When you go to a page, and I'm not, I don't have this up, but actually, you know what? I do have this up. Let me flip over. I have one.
Oh, you're going through how many ads the sites do?
Yeah.
Well, there was that one site I told you not to even click on today because I clicked on it and started uploading stuff to my computer.
I have two ads. Okay, two ads. So there's clickbait. So when you click on it, these two ads come up.
Yep.
And if I really want a pen, it's going to ship fast today. This is how they make money. So, before you get all twisted, and first off, this is not even their story. It's just on their site. This is an Associated Press story.
Yep. And that's how they do it too.
Yeah. So, there's just a lot of things that go on when you see headlines. You gotta. If one thing we've learned today is not only do you have to read past the headlines, you have to get past the first paragraph.
Yeah, at least.
Because sometimes the reality isn't until the last paragraph or the last sentence.
Well, a lot of times what they do is the first two paragraphs are off, feel bad for them, and the last two paragraphs are
smashes
off.
them.
No, the last two are still off. You still feel bad for them.
Yeah.
The middle is where like the actual information is.
Yeah.
And then they switch it back around because a lot of times they'll just read the first couple and then read the last couple, get the information that they want. And head off.
I mean, let's be honest. Anybody would be outraged if you had no criminal record, you stole 10 cartons of cigarettes, you got 20 years. People would be, are you friggin' kidding me? Yeah, this is just insane.
Even me, who's like an advocate. I mean, I don't want these people having dentures.
Yeah.
Even I'd be like, that's a little excessive, guys.
Yeah.
But
20 years. But when you have 14 felony convictions and 31 misdemeanor convictions, I think at this point, in my view, you're a career criminal.
Right, and that's what the article says is he wasn't given the 20 years for the 10 cartons.
Yeah, it's only $600 worth of merchandise.
He was given the 20 years for being a quote-unquote habitual offender.
Yeah.
I like my little note here at the end. By headlining this 20-year sentence, a Florida man who stole 10 cartons of cigarettes, you're leading the headline heroes to believe that he got 2 years per carton, not 20 years for being a piece of shit.
Yeah. I like that.
Sometimes I make myself laugh.
Yep.
Well, that's our podcast for today. Tune in next week when we talk to Steve Minot for the local regional campaign director for Larry Sharp. Larry Sharp, for those of you who aren't in New York State, is our libertarian candidate for New York State. Rick and I have been really impressed by this man. If you have a couple questions, comment on this wherever you found this podcast, or send me an email to bfrankie@purplepoliticspodcast.com. And let us know what we got wrong. I'm your host, Ben.
I'm Rick.
And we'll talk to you again next week. Inmates without teeth in Texas are routinely